This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
Thank you for listening to the GSMC Sports Podcast, where we discuss all the news in the world of sports. My name is Ben.
And I'm Pauline.
Back here on a Monday. Good weekend, Pauline?
Good weekend.
Anything interesting? Anything fun?
Well, my little brother came home from Cal Poly for spring break on Thursday, so we went to the high school championship game. CIF, on Saturday.
Do you go to all of them? You go to all day or just...
No, I went for women's Division 1 and then the last one, boys.
I know that Bishop Montgomery from SoCal won the boys. Who won the girls?
Girls was... I
don't even know who was in it.
No, it was actually a really good game because it was really close. And Archbishop and...
from San Jose.
Okay. And Clovis West as well. And it was actually a really good game. Clovis West came back to defeat Archbishop, and Archbishop was like winning a good part of that game, especially towards the end. And Clovis, they just stuck it out, but they capitalized on a lot of Archbishop's mistakes. Like, they really stuck with it and fought through it. So it was a pretty fun game. I enjoyed it.
I really wanted to go.
Yeah, it was right here at the Golden One.
Right. It was basically an all-day event. They have 5-6 divisions, but I was at work, so I couldn't get it off. But yeah, I really wanted to go. I really do enjoy the prep basketball playoffs.
It was a lot of fun.
I was covering a lot of it for a local newspaper here.
Oh, right.
So I would have loved to have seen a lot of the games, but unfortunately,
and Wood Creek...
they lost
boys
by
basketball.
7.
Yeah, they're local team right up the street. So that's one of the reasons. That's actually the reason why I went, was we got invited by a young man who plays for them. So that's what we did. So it was a fun weekend.
Definitely good.
Basketball, lots of
Unfortunately,
basketball.
a lot of the teams from Southern California dominate a lot of that stuff. It is what it is. But anyways, we're going to talk a lot about basketball here. We have obviously a Final Four set on the men's side. The rest of the Final Four will be set on the women's side tonight. See if UConn can get there. They're playing number 10, Oregon. So, I mean, hey, don't get me wrong. Anything can happen in one game, but
True.
I'll give the edge to UConn. So we also have Stanford in there. We do have Mississippi State in there. So a couple of number ones did lose yesterday, Baylor and Notre Dame as well. So interesting there on the women's side. We could only have one number one seed. On the men's side, we're going to have two. We do have our Final Four set after yesterday. A couple of really good games yesterday. Saturday, I mean, not so much. A couple of blowouts. We'll go kind of in order. Friday was great with the whole Wisconsin-Florida overtime game. So obviously Florida went on. So we'll just kind of pick up Saturday and Sunday, the Elite Eight matchups. Gonzaga absolutely killed Xavier. They were in control the whole way. They were up by 10 at halftime. And then in the second half, they kind of pulled away 83-59. So number one, Gonzaga, they reached their first Final Four, Pauline, in
I know, they're proving us wrong.
I had someone tell me that, right? And I was like, I mean, I realize you play who's in front of you.
Sure.
But Arizona literally falls apart in the last couple of minutes when they're up by 7. Xavier goes on a 9-0 run to win that game.
Yeah.
Literally 9 out of 10 times, Arizona's going to go through in that matchup. So, did Gonzaga get a little bit of some help there from Xavier? Of course they did.
No, yeah.
You have to play who's in front of you.
And I think that's also kind of the fun of the tournament, is that sometimes you do get, like, luck does just play into it a lot. Like, of course, it's the skill, like you said, who you're playing in front of you. But sometimes the person that's placed in front of you is kind of easy.
And no disrespect to Xavier. I mean,
no, definitely not. Definitely not.
Pulled off some nice upsets. Beat number 3, Florida State. Beat number 6, Maryland. Beat number 2, Arizona. So it's not like they were just a pushover team. I mean, they were a pretty good side. But I feel like Gonzaga did get a little bit of the benefit of the doubt.
They wanted to pick a team.
Probably should have played Arizona.
Yeah.
But
nevertheless,
Nigel Williams-Goss, 23 points and 8 rebounds in the game. I feel like Gonzaga, the last few games of the tournament, going back to probably the second round against Northwestern and then West Virginia and now Xavier, doing a great job of playing defensively. Xavier only shoot 35% in this game. They only make 2 of 16 from 3-point range. So they really are doing a great job defensively. And I feel like that's what's, if they're going to get to the championship game or not, and ultimately win it, I feel like it's going to be their defense that's going to have to get it done.
Right.
So Gonzaga goes through, and then on Saturday, number 1 Kansas. So my bracket is officially busted. I don't have...
My brother was so hurt. He was like, dude, look at my bracket. And
I literally picked 0 of the Final Four teams. Not one of them. So, because my lone Final Four team was Kansas. And
right.
They got bounced on Saturday by number 3 Oregon at 74-60.
Right.
So my bracket is completely shot. So I don't have a horse in the field anymore. My team Kentucky, we'll get to them yesterday, kind of heartbroken a little bit. But so number 1 Kansas loses on Saturday. Number 3 Oregon in the Final Four for the first time since 1934.
Yeah.
So quite a while. Jordan Bell on Saturday, I mean, absolutely fantastic. He really set the tone for me. 11 points, 13 rebounds, but 8 blocks. The big man really is filling in nicely for Chris Boucher, who we felt like Oregon were kind of going to be done after Boucher went down in the Pac-12 tournament because of his interior presence, a shot blocker. But Jordan Bell is definitely picking up the slack. And then Tyler Dorsey is one of those guys that can literally just take over games. That's what he's done the last few games for Oregon. 27 points in this game, 6 of 10 from 3. He's absolutely on fire. Then you have a guy like Dylan Brooks, who has consistently been Oregon's best player all year long. He had 17 on Saturday. They were really in control of Kansas the whole way out. They're up by 11 at the half. And they kind of just coasted to a nice, comfortable 14-point victory. For Kansas, they really just couldn't get anything going. And because of that, they had to play a lot of their guys the whole way out. They only went 7 deep in this game. And, I mean, really, it was really only 6 deep. One guy just chipped in for a few minutes there. Right. Frank Mason III had 21 points to end his college career. Josh Jackson really struggled from the field. He only had 10 points to go along with 12 rebounds and 5 assists. So he's probably headed towards the NBA. But Kansas really let me down on Saturday. I took a big L. I don't have any Final Four
know.
But so Oregon advances. That's great for them, and they're definitely going to be a tough out. And that takes us to yesterday's game. Yesterday's game is a lot more competitive.
Yes.
The SEC this year in college basketball was not the greatest conference. They only had, I think, 4 tournament teams. But yet they had 3 in the Elite 8. And we had an Elite 8 matchup between number 4 Florida after their great game-winning shot against number 8 Wisconsin in the Sweet 16.
Yes.
Against number 7 South Carolina after they literally ran right through number 3 Baylor. And South Carolina did it again. They are literally the Cinderella story of the tournament.
Right.
The number 7 seed South Carolina Gamecocks. It was their first ever trip to the Elite 8. They got past Florida. Now their first ever trip to the Final Four with a 77-70 victory over their SEC foe, Florida.
Right. Even better. I
mean, it was. They definitely know each other. I mean, they play each other twice in the regular season.
Right.
Sindarius Thornwell, great game, 26 points yesterday to go along with 7 rebounds. He's one of those like senior leaders that if you're going to make it deeper in the tournament, you need to have because they're instant offense and they're just really, really those guys that can take over the game. And that's kind of what happened yesterday. 8 of 13 from the field, 9 of 10 from the free throw line, so he shot really good. Silva as well chipped in with 13 points and 9 rebounds. And really just an all-around effort on the defensive side for Frank Martin and company for South Carolina. And they just basically chip along, and they go on to beat Florida 77-70. So now when you look at the Final Four, we still have to get to Kentucky and North Carolina from yesterday, which was a great game. But you're going to have number 1 Gonzaga against number 7 South Carolina.
Hey. But if I'm South Carolina at this point, I don't think nothing. They should have a healthy fear, sure, but they've been playing well, so I'm feeling confident. Like I'm thinking, okay, North Carolina, and sometimes when you have certain matchups, I can understand if you're feeling kind of like, oh, this is going to be a doozy, like this is going to be hard. We're going to have to fight hard, and the odds are stacked up 100% against us and things like that. But then in this case with South Carolina, looking at that matchup, you know, they've steadily, you know, been chipping away. So what's to hold them back now?
They've been doing great in the second half. Another second half comeback yesterday. They're down by 7 at the half. But for me, against Gonzaga, they're going to have to get off to a fast start. Because Gonzaga are kind of the same team as South Carolina in my eyes from this perspective, because they have those senior experienced leaders. Karnowski, Nigel Williams-Goss. It's not like they're playing with a lot of young kids.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're really experienced and really well coached by Mark Few as well. So they're going to have to get off to a quick start. I don't see them coming from behind against a team like Gonzaga.
Okay, yeah.
So I think South Carolina's going to have to get off to a fast start on Saturday. But you know what? I think two things. Number one, Gonzaga has all the pressure on them because they are the number 1 seed. Mm-hmm. And South Carolina are the number 7 seed, never been here before. They're playing on house money. No one really expects them to win much.
Right.
So they're kind of playing loose and free, and it's going to be Gonzaga who are playing with all the pressure on them because they should go by a number 7 seed in South Carolina.
Right.
So they're going to have a lot of the pressure on them. And then that gets us to our last matchup from yesterday. Number 1 at North Carolina against number 2 Kentucky. It was a great game that went all the way down to the wire.
Literally.
North Carolina, literally. North Carolina wins 75-73. Malik Monk hits a 3-pointer for Kentucky with 7 seconds left to tie the game. And then Luke May, a former walk-on at North Carolina, hits the game winner with 0.3 of a second left from just inside the 3-point line. Absolutely fantastic. Luke May, he had a great weekend. He had a career-high 17 points last night, including the game winner. And then against Butler, he had a career-high 16. So literally sets his career high in back-to-back games.
Yes.
Played 20 minutes, had 17 points. It was a great game. Kentucky kind of let it get away from them. They're up by 5 with a couple minutes left. And they went on a real drought. North Carolina went on a 10-0 run at one point. Kentucky slowly chipped it back. Monk hits an absolutely absurd 3-pointer there to tie the game. And then North Carolina did not call timeout with 7 seconds left, which Roy Williams says he's not a big fan of calling a timeout. Likes to, he really told his players just to go, and they got off the shot. And, I mean, May just hit a good shot, honestly. Yeah. So it was a great matchup there. Feel kind of bad for some of the guys from Kentucky because they really played well on Friday against UCLA. Everyone was looking forward to that matchup.
Yes.
And really, De'Aaron Fox kind of lit up Lonzo Ball on Friday. Fox had 39 points. He had 13 yesterday. Didn't really shoot too well, only 5 of 14. But he kind of lit up the potential and probable number 1 pick in the NBA draft. And Fox, he's going to go to the league as well. He's going to be probably a top 5, top 10 pick. So. But Kentucky do fall short yet again. John Calipari just slowly and just mightily gets edged out by Luke May, of all people. I mean, you would have thought it would have been someone like maybe Justin Jackson. He had a chance to kind of ice the game at the free throw line late, which led to Malik Monk's 3 because he did miss that shot. But it was a great game. This is kind of what the tournament's made of. So you have North Carolina advancing to their 2nd consecutive Final Four. Last year, it was heartbreak because they lost literally at the buzzer to Villanova. But this year, they kind of turned it around and kind of pulled one up on Kentucky here. So now they advance on Saturday to face number 3 Oregon in our other national semifinal matchup. That ought to be literally a great game. I think this will probably be the better of the 2 games. And who you got? I mean, who you got?
Now... I'm going to go with Oregon.
Really? Okay.
I'm going to go with Oregon.
I mean, they're playing really hot. Dorsey's playing fantastic. I mean, North Carolina is the best team, and they should go through, but I realize me saying that's probably going to kill them because I kill everything.
And now I was just going to say, now that we've both said something different, now we'll
So
see,
what you're telling me is the winner of Gonzaga and South Carolina is going to win the national championship because you're killing Oregon off, and I'm killing North Carolina off, and they're playing each other.
So it just might be... I don't want to say it because I literally jinx every team.
I want to really...
You're a little bit better than me. Like, I am literally...
I jinx everything.
I
have 0 Final Four teams. I at least usually get 1.
Yeah.
You know, I really want to pick South Carolina because that's how...
that's what I'm saying. Don't say it. Stop there because I want them to win too.
I'm not going to because I don't think they're going to win, but I'm rooting for them. The underdog... I mean, we have 2 number 1s, we have a 3, and we have a 7.
No,
It doesn't happen very often. So I'm rooting for South Carolina. I want to see them get it done against Gonzaga, who've been literally the most consistent team all year long, only lost one game. It's going to be really, really tough. And they're riding a lot of momentum right now.
Yes.
And they're not going to play for another week. So momentum could get stopped. But I'll go with North Carolina and Gonzaga, and I'll say North Carolina. I think they're the better team. So we'll have to wait and see. Anyways, we'll take our first break of the show. After the break, we're going to talk about the NBA. Devin Booker on Friday scored 70 points. Yes,
wild.
70 points against the Celtics, but yet they still lost.
Hey,
talk about that. There's a little fun in that and a little things. You know what? Congrats to Devin Booker, but I was not happy with it, and I'll tell you why.
Oh, okay.
And then yesterday, a matchup of the potential top 2 MVP candidates, and yesterday this showed me why it's not even a race. And I'll tell you why. All after the break
Ben.
at the GSMC GSMC Sports Podcast.
Yes.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back into the GSMC Sports Podcast. Indiana have a new head coach, and honestly, it's not who I thought it would be. I figured Steve Alford was for sure going back home to Indiana, but they are going with Archie Miller, the former coach from Dayton. It's a 7-year deal with about $3.5 million, and I can't believe it's not Steve Alford from UCLA. I figured going back home to Indiana.
Right.
Lonzo Ball is leaving, literally declares for the draft, like,
Not
the final
even.
buzzer hit 0, and he's like, yeah, see,
No.
I'm going to the league. I mean, right away, the game ended, and my phone
Literally
tells me
announced
he's going to the NBA. I'm
before,
like, the
yes.
game hasn't even ended for 5 minutes.
I'm like, dude.
So, like, Lonzo's leaving. TJ Leaf is probably going to be a lottery pick, so he's gone. Son Bryce is graduating. Isaac Hamilton's graduating. His best team he's probably going to have his whole time there, UCLA, is gone. Literally, he was looking at getting fired last year. Took away his bonus. Had a bounce-back year. I figured he'd be like, see ya.
Right.
But they're
Take
going
him
with
out.
Archie Miller from Dayton. Nevertheless, I mean, hopefully it's a good move. Indiana's definitely an elite coaching job, so have to see how it goes. But moving on, talk about some pro basketball now. So on Friday night, you're going to watch a lot of college basketball, the Elite Eight matchups, but no one probably saw this unless they saw it on their phone or on Twitter or something, because I didn't even watch the game, because you wouldn't watch the Celtics versus the Suns.
Right, no,
I mean,
yeah.
honestly, who in their right mind would want to watch that?
I saw on Twitter. Yeah.
Unless you're a fan of the teams, you wouldn't watch that. Okay, so Celtics versus Suns.
Right.
Celtics win 130 to 120. You're like, okay, the Celtics won by 10. That's
Cool,
a great game.
yeah. High-scoring game.
But the story of the game, Devin Booker shoots 21 of 40, 24 of 26 from the free throw line. Crazy that he did that.
Yeah,
scores
that's crazy.
70 points. 7-0. I realized on my phone, and I was like, wait, what?
No, I was, what was I doing? I forget where my brother and I were. Oh, we were at my nephew's basketball game on Friday night, and I just was scrolling on my Twitter feed, and I saw that, and I was like, dude. I looked at him, and I was like, dude, Booker had 70 points. And he's like, what? And so I was like, no, literally. I was like, look on your phone right now. And he's like, this is insane. Like, I was like, dude, yes, like 70 points himself.
Right.
Himself.
And while you're just looking at that, like, oh my God, he like really lit it up. Yeah, he did shot 21 of 40, so he shot over 50%, just barely.
Right.
4 of 11 from 3. He had 8 rebounds, even 6 assists. So
He was doing a lot that day.
here's my problem with it, okay? The Suns were down the whole entire game, lost by 10. They're down by 17 going to the fourth quarter, so the game was kind of over.
Sure.
What they did, they honestly were helping Devin Booker score the ball. This literally reminded me of Kobe Bryant's last game. Okay, 'cause here's what I mean.
Okay, yeah.
The Suns were fouling the Celtics intentionally and calling timeouts when they were down big to give Devin Booker the ball more and to stop the clock.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I mean, I realize you have nothing to play for because you're 22-51 and you're tanking because you have the youngest starting lineup in the history of the NBA.
Right.
Literally, your starting five is younger than some of these teams in college right now. I'm serious. Like,
No,
this happened against I forget who they played on.
It's funny when you think
Thursday.
that, though. When you
Anthony
say
and I
it.
talked about it on Friday. They're literally tanking, so it's like, we already lost the game. Let's like help Devin get as many points as he can now. Like, and don't get me wrong, Devin Booker is a fantastic player.
Sure.
He's only 20 years old. The sky's the limit for this kid. He was already lighting it up even before. It's not like he was averaging 5 points a game.
Right,
And,
exactly.
like, all of a sudden scored 70.
Like we're not, yeah.
He's having a fantastic year, even though he did score 70. He's averaging 21 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. He's been a really, really good player coming out of Kentucky. So it's not like he's just coming out of nowhere with 70, but they're like helping him get more and more. And then Jay Crowder of the Celtics kind of threw. I feel like maybe he was a little salty here because everyone is like super excited about the 70 points,
Yeah.
and then like they basically copied like a Wilt Chamberlain-esque photo, like holding 70
yep.
on a paper, and they put
I
it on
saw that.
Instagram. And then
With
Jay
his whole
Crowder
squad.
And then Jay Crowder answers back on Instagram, I've never seen so many people so excited about
I
taking
saw
a
that.
loss.
But I'm like, and I saw that, and I was like, and I did dismiss it as, all right, salt, like so much shade.
Because Jay Crowder's never going to score
But
70
it's like,
points. He had
yeah.
13, don't get me wrong, good game, but
Sure, but I'm like, okay, they lost. That's fine. But then I also looked at it as, that's your teammate. So we're going to be happy in our teammate's accomplishment as well. Like, yeah, we lost as far as like the end result was a loss, but this is a big moment for you and in your career. And one, I'm just happy to be a part of it. And two, it's like not many people can say that. 70 points in a game.
right.
There was a time when 70 points.
LeBron's career high is 62.
Yeah.
Melo's is 61, so he's literally got more points than both. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying he's going to be better than him, but
Sure.
the youngest
but
player to score 70 points, only 11 players have done at least 70 points, so hey.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you're in a, and
I feel like you're not going to see a higher point total for literally
right. And there was
5,
a
10
time,
years.
like lately, especially lately, it's nothing to see a game with a score of a final score 80 plus, but it's like at one time scoring 70 plus as a whole team was a lot. And now this kid's doing it on his own. So
right, it was a good performance.
Yeah, don't
and
take away
He kind of got on
from-
fire early, started making some shots, got fouled a lot, makes his free throws, and then they kind of were like, "Hey, let's help Devin get as many points as we can because we already lost."
Right. Yeah, I mean,
So
that's
I
fine.
kind of had a problem with it in that regard.
Right.
But
I
still,
can see what you're saying.
Congrats to Booker on 70 points. I was really, really shocked when I read that on Friday.
Yeah.
And then yesterday we had a matchup of the probably top 2 MVP vote getters at the end of the season. The Rockets versus the Thunder. The Rockets win 137 to 125. They had 113 points at the end of the third quarter, did the Rockets.
That's
and
wild.
you know what, Pauline? This, to me, proves why James Harden is the MVP and not Russell Westbrook.
Take it away, Ben.
Okay, Russ had a triple-double yesterday.
Yes.
It snaps an 11-game triple-double winning streak, I guess you can say.
Right.
So when Russ gets triple-double, they had won 11 straight games. But not yesterday. He had 39 points to go along with 13 assists and 11 boards. He shot 3 of 9 from 3. So yet again, he's reverting back to his... He should average 2 with 3-pointers a game, and he averages like 8.
Yeah.
Okay, stop shooting threes, Russ. I love you, but you're not a 3-point shooter.
He's, yeah.
Okay. Also shot 13 of 24. So not bad. Shot over 50%. But the Rockets are 3-1 this season against the Thunder. So James Harden's winning the head-to-head matchups.
Right.
Their team
Right.
is better, 51-22 to 41-31. And Harden himself had a much better game in my eyes. He didn't have a triple-double. 22 points, 12 assists, 5 boards.
Okay.
The team is just better. He's on a better team.
Yeah, he is on a better team.
I think this is why
Overall,
he's the MVP.
yeah. Overall, he is on a better team.
Lou Williams chipped in big performance last night. 31 minutes, 31 points. He's been a great addition from the Lakers. So good on there for the Rockets. But this, to me, shows you why Westbrook is not the MVP.
Honestly, at this point, I'm at a point with Russell where I just want him to win personal records.
I think you have
that's
to.
what I think that's where I'm at.
I think if he does not win the MVP, I think you honestly have to look at the true value of a triple-double because he's going to average it. And I always said if he averages it, then I would go with him. But there's still a potential for him to drop out some way or another.
You think so? Still?
There's always a chance.
Well, yeah. But the probability of that chance coming true.
Right, not very high.
Yeah.
So, Oscar Robertson averaged triple-double.
Yeah.
He was third in the MVP voting that year.
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook could average a triple-double and not win it. So if that's the case, then you really have to look at what is the value of a triple-double in the NBA. Because
what more do you have to do?
Something that only 2 guys will have accomplished ever got done in a season, and they didn't win the MVP. Yeah. So you have to look at what's that true value of it. And you can't say it's really high if that's going to be the case.
Right.
So
it's not, yeah.
It'll be interesting to look at, but I'm going with Harden, and yesterday proved why. I mean, they're 3-1 head-to-head is James Harden over Russell Westbrook.
That's definitely going to go heavy on his favor.
He's having a better year. You would kind of expected this from Westbrook. He's shooting a really, really low percentage. Leads the league in turnovers. Harden's second, but, hey, that's all right.
Right.
Not first.
Yeah.
I'll go with Harden. You know what I mean? I have to.
But you've been pretty steady with Harden.
I have all year long. And, to be honest, the real MVP is LeBron. Don't get me wrong. But with how they're playing in March, 5-7, not doing too well, that train's kind of slowed down a little bit, and he's not going to win it anyway. It's going to be one of these 2 guys. But so we'll have to wait and see. But yesterday showed why, in my eyes, James Harden is the MVP. We'll take our last break of the show. After the break, we're going to say goodbye to the Oakland Raiders.
And hello, Vegas.
Yes, the NFL voters will vote today at about 11 Pacific time, 2 Eastern, and it's really not even going to be a vote. It's a sure thing. I'll tell you why after the break of the GSMC Sports Podcast.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Today, the NFL owners will vote on a potential move to Las Vegas for the Oakland Raiders, and honestly, it's not going to be a vote. It's going to happen. It's a sure thing. Literally this weekend, Jerry Jones came out and backed the move. Robert Kraft has backed it. Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner, sent a letter to the mayor of Oakland. And you want to know what I kind of will use as an analogy, Pauline? Because I think it's a perfect one. You know, like when you're at the door and someone rings the door and you're like, oh, God, who's this?
Yeah.
And you kind of look through the peephole. And you're like, oh, it's some guy trying to sell me something.
Right.
You enter the door and you're like, sorry, man, like I'm totally like not interested in whatever you have. And he's like, but wait, I can. And then you just kind of slam a door in his face or like, dude, I'm sorry.
No.
Like, I'm out. Goodbye.
My mom's not home. Sorry.
This is literally the letter Goodell sent to the mayor of Oakland. It's like whatever you're trying to plan, like it's not going to happen. Like, sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but see ya.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's it's gone because it's kind of been on a roller coaster, and I kind of feel bad for Oakland in that regard because it's like, we have a crappy arena, and then it's like, oh, they have a potential move, and then like, oh, Goldman Sachs and Sheldon Adelson back out. We have a chance here. And then it's like, oh, Bank of America step in. And, like, the deal's back on for the stadium. And it's like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like...
Yeah, it has been. It seems like every couple weeks, like every other week, something up or down has been happening for them.
So it's...
So it's like, you got to hold on.
And they need 24 of the 32 owners' votes, but literally the most influential 2 owners in the league have already come out and backed it, so everyone else is going to follow suit. I'm not going to say it's going to be a unanimous 32, but I would. But they need 24.
Get the 24.
They'll get probably 27, 28. So it's going to happen. The NFL and the Oakland Raiders will be moving to Vegas, but not right away. Still have a couple years in Oakland, so kind of like a farewell. Goodbye, farewells. Maybe you'll have Marshawn Lynch there. I mean, that's still potential. So there's still potential for that. But so now, if the deal goes through, like it's probably going to be, you're going to have 3 NFL franchises move in the last year, basically.
Yeah, it's been a lot of movement.
The Rams moved from St. Louis to L.A. The Chargers moved from San Diego to L.A. And now you're going to have the Oakland Raiders move to Las Vegas in a couple of years once they build that stadium. So I think this is a fantastic move.
Yeah,
seriously.
If you're thinking about it, let's now's the time to kind of start shifting. If people have been thinking about it, why not?
I feel like I've said this all along. It's going to be perfect. It's not going to be 8 games. It's going to be 8 events because you're going to have 100,000 people. It's Vegas already, so people are already there like crazy. You have the Raiders. You have a following with Oakland. You have a following with L.A. Flights go to Vegas from the Bay Area and from Southern California literally like every 5 minutes.
It's literally
and it's like an hour
40-minute trip from LA.
It's like an hour or 2 flight away at the most.
It's an hour.
So you're going to people are going to fly there.
The wind's going in your favor, 36 minutes.
Right. People are going to be able to fly there like crazy.
You can drive
anyways.
there. Like people drive. I went to school in Southern California and so many of my friends for no reason at all would be like, we're just going to drive to Vegas.
Yeah.
We're just going to go.
So, I mean, you can literally be there before you even think about it. So it's not like it's like, we're moving from like Oakland to New Jersey where we can never see them again. It's not going to be the case. So if you have a following in California, you're going to be able to get to Nevada quite easily. That's number 1. Number 2, say we're like a fan of a random, like I'm a Green Bay fan, so I'm going to say Green Bay. Say we're from Milwaukee. Oh, the Packers are going to play in Vegas this year. Let's leave on a Thursday. Go down there Thursday, spend the day Thursday,
Friday.
Spend the day Friday, Saturday, watch a few shows.
And come home.
Watch the game Sunday, come home Monday.
Yeah, no, that's
have a guy's
the best extended weekend ever.
Have a guy's trip.
Have a girls' trip. We're going.
Have a girls' trip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is going to be perfect. There's only one.
That's a lot of fun.
There's only one thing I'm kind of hesitant on with the Las Vegas Raiders.
Okay.
And that's I don't want to say hometown, but a favorable, I don't know what the best way to say it is. I'll say this. I'll kind of compare it to this. How many true diehard Raider fans are you going to have in the stadium? Because I feel like that could really throw things off. It's like you're going to have 100,000 people. You're going to have like 50% of it Raiders and 50% of it the opposing team because we're all here to party and get like drunk for the weekend. You know what I mean? So I feel like that could kind of hurt them in an aspect because it's not like, we have like a home field advantage. Like, you may not have that home field advantage because the crowd is so split. You know what I mean? So I think that could be the one. This is definitely a business move. Yeah, I can
see because if anything, it would be really good for the city of Las Vegas. Because it'll bring people there because like summer is like the big time of Vegas. You know, that's when people are on break, like, spring break right now through summer vacation and things like that. Whereas, like, during football season, it's not as much. Well, I mean, Vegas never stopped. But you know what I mean? Like, as far as
I get what you're saying.
A lot of people go during the warmer season, as far as the warmer months, because the pool parties, all that. So this would be really good for Vegas because, like you said, some people are now going to make that trip for the football game who might not have intended on coming during winter time there to Vegas. So if anything, it would be really good for the city of Vegas. But I can see what you're saying as far as like tickets and as far as people actually in the stadium. If it's a big time visiting team, then yeah. But if it's just because, like you said, like if you're living in Milwaukee, living on the East Coast and your team is coming to play the Raiders, then yeah, let's make this a big huge random trip to go see the game. But as far as people in Raiders, but then again, Raiders fans are crazy. They go everywhere.
Right. Raiders but that's like my one skepticism because this is definitely a business move. It's not like we have a huge backing of
right, that they went there because so
here.
Many Raiders were like, please come, please come, please
right.
come.
So I feel like that could be the one thing that kind of maybe hurts the team a little bit is like, hey, we had a stadium where we filled 90% of it in black and gray or silver and black.
Yeah.
And now we're filling 50% of it. You know? So I feel like that could be the one downfall.
I see what you're saying. Mm-hmm.
But the Raiders are still a great team, had a great season last year until Carr broke his leg against the Colts. And they're going to own that division for the next 10 years because Carr is going to be there for the next 10 years. So I think they'll be fine and everything will be great in a couple of years when they move to Vegas. And it's honestly a good move. And once this was a realistic shot, I knew it was going to happen. So that vote will be on today about 2 Eastern, 11 Pacific. So we'll, of course, talk about it tomorrow when it gets official in air quotes because it's kind of already official.
Right.
But anyways, that's going to end the show for today. My name is Ben.
And I'm Pauline.
Thank you for listening here to the GSMC Sports Podcast. We'll be back in the studio tomorrow recording another episode. Have a good day, and we'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.